all set.
Perfect.
Thank you, Carl. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Clean Water Committee. I believe it might be the last one of the year. Here we are at the end of the month of November and start into December. Can't believe it's passed so quickly this year. So welcome, everyone. Again, still meeting virtually just for the safety of others and staff. Morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning.
I tried to get up on the internet. Can't do it, so I'm on phone.
That's fine. We're glad you can make it whatever way you can. So we have a good agenda today. We'll get things rolling here. So again, thank you everyone for attending. So I'm looking for an approval of the agenda and the supplemental. If there is any supplemental.
There is no supplemental today.
Okay, no supplemental. So,
I would move.
Thank you, Glenn. A seconder, please.
Second.
Thank
you.
You.
That was Russell, I think.
Russell, yeah. It's just for the benefit of those note takers here. If you could just say your name if you're going to speak or move or second, that would be very helpful. So I'm going to ask us if there's anyone opposed. Hearing none. Approval carried.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'm just going to do a roll call so everyone knows who's on. So I have Glenn Mackey joining us by phone, Alan Krusel, Andre Pominville, Angela Coleman, Bill Smurl, Jackie Pemberton, Michelle Kearney, Ray Beauregard, Tara Redpath, Renee Lalone, Russell Bennett, and Terrence Sauvé. We still may have one or two others that will pop in as we go.
Perfect. Again, thank you for attending. Or following up that you were attending with me today. So item number 3, we're looking for a declaration of conflict of interest at this time. Going once, twice, 3 times, hearing none. No conflicts today. On to item number 4. We're on to the request for approvals. This is on page, item A is on page 3 to 8 in your agenda package. So it's the Clean Water Committee minutes of September 13th. And we're looking for an approval of those minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review, and if you found any error or omissions, let us know. I am looking for a mover. I see a hand up, but I cannot tell. Okay, thank you. Seconder, please.
And Renee. Sorry, Renee moved, Ray seconded.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Is anyone opposed? Hearing none, that's carried. Thank you. On to item number 5, business arising from the minute. So we're on item number A, which is denied clean water grant application. ID number 2021 API CW19, and it's a cover crop. So it is Andre, you're up.
Hello, this is a direct, yes, okay. This is a direct effect of the COVID of last fall or this spring. This applicant applied for a cover crop fall 2020. And in the spring, when I called him, what was the status of this project, he said he was going to harvest it. But at the time, I didn't really know, and he did not mention it at the time, that what he was going to harvest would be a new crop, which he had reseeded over the old crop, which was winter rye. I see 2 pictures on my screen. I imagine this would be the new crop, which he has reseeded in the spring, because the new crop was wheat, spring wheat, because I don't have a date, but I don't see any snow. I would imagine with winter rye, it would have been at least a foot high, which I did not realize at the time, but he told me he'd be harvested. And this is what I did report to the committee, that the not necessarily the cover crop, but the field would be harvested.
So is there any questions in regards to this?
So I'll just remind you, we did defer this project originally in June because we weren't sure of the details. In September, when when Andre heard that it was going to be harvested, we denied it. So now that we've had clarification that it was not harvested, we do need to rate this one for to get a final score for it if the committee so wishes to consider it.
I'm looking for some discussion.
I see a hand from Alan.
Alan, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Andre, how was that rye terminated?
It was a plow under. It was this cover, then he put in spring wheat.
Okay.
Which I
Couldn't really
didn't know
tell
at the
by those
time.
pictures.
Pardon me?
Couldn't really tell with those pictures.
Well, I think the pictures, because I asked him to send me some pictures, and I imagine this would be the spring wheat, which he had put in a couple of days, well, a couple of weeks after the seed went in.
If you look at the left picture, it looks like there was rye there that was sprayed off and then planted into something.
Oh, yes, I see. Could be, yes.
For an organic producer, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, yes, this is a certified organic producer, yes.
So my question is not an issue around whether this cover crop was harvested. It has been indicated that it has not, and as long as we're satisfied that it wasn't harvested, it would meet the requirements, in my understanding. So therefore, we would go ahead and rate, and then we'll look to see if there's a move or a seconder to approve, if that's okay.
Yes, so we'll rate it and then we'll hold until we get to the rest of the projects to see where it lands amongst the other rated projects from today. So I will call out your voting number again. I did send it by email last night. I see Alan's hand
I
up
see
again.
Alan. Okay,
Yeah.
Alan, go ahead.
Just one more quick question before we go to the
Sure.
rating. Spring plowed or fall plowed, Andre?
Come again?
Spring plowed or fall plowed?
Don't think. Oh, you mean the winter rye?
Yep.
Yeah, spring.
Okay.
Okay, so if we're good to go, I'll call out your number, and we do have Doug and Mark have also joined us, so welcome, gentlemen. Okay, voter number 1.
4.
Number 2.
Has Dear Doctor
3.
added, deleted, or changed?
Number 3.
4.
Number 4.
5.
Number 5.
4.
Number 6. Oh, we lost number 6. Okay. Number 7. Renee, that's you. Are you there, Renee? Okay, we'll come back to.
You're in the video.
Okay, number 9.
Morning, Stephen.
3.
Number 11.
4.
13.
5.
15.
4.
16.
Bill?
I voted in 15. I thought it was 16. Sorry.
What was your vote again, Bill? I think I'm seeing
Bill,
4.
4. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Terence, what was your score? still.
Is Terrence still on?
He's on, but he's muted. Okay, so let's grab the, I don't think our last one's on yet. No, okay. So of the scores we have, the committee score is 4.0. So we'll just hold on that project now until we review the rest of them so we can move on to our next item, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Rhonda. So we're on to item number 6, which is staff update.
And I just wanted to bring a follow-up to a slide I showed in September. So you may recall that we were scheduled to host an event at the Healing Place, which is a property that South Nation owns in Shanley, Ontario, called Remembering the Children, in partnership with our local First Nation communities. It was a very well-attended event. I wanted to bring back an update because I know there were a few committee members from here that did attend. So thank you for those that could join us for the day. It was really great to have such a diverse crowd. We were able to host about 65 to 70 people on site, which was fantastic, given that we were restricted to only 25 at our 2020 event. So I would encourage you, if you're in the Shanley area, it's right along County Road 22. You can find it quite easily just to the north at the just north of the Ventnor Road corner. Please feel free at any time to stop in and visit the site. And I guess I would open it up if anyone has any comments from those who attended that would like to share anything before I move on to the next slide.
So I will share that I was in attendance. It was a very nice ceremony. I think it's incumbent on us to take the time to understand the practices and the, you know, in some ways the powers that this can bring to reconciliation. So I enjoyed the event, and the location is lovely. So I do encourage others to check it out.
And Madam Chair, if I could, it's Bill. I would also say that it's open for anyone to visit, and I would like the chair encourage you to visit.
Both. I believe Kat has a few updates for us.
Yes,
ahead,
good morning,
Kat.
everyone. Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to give you an update on SNC's low water response program in 2021. The program was active. We have a low water advisory team that's made up of representatives from provincial and municipal government, from the agricultural community and other, as well as other stakeholders. And that team gets together whenever there's the potential for drought. We look at a number of different indicators, including precipitation across the jurisdiction, as well as stream flows. And we were in a level 1 low water condition a couple times this past year. From June 4th to August 4th, due to a warmer spring and a dry spring. We received a fair amount of rain throughout July, so that advisory was lifted, but then it was reinstated from September 9th to November 2nd, again, because of sporadic rainfall and really quite hot temperatures throughout the month of August. We're at normal levels for everything as of the end of October. So just a quick update for everyone there. This past fall, we have been out doing some groundwater
Kat, I'm just going to stop you there for a minute.
Yes.
I just want to see if there's any questions in regards to the low water response. Any questions? Okay, thank you. You can proceed. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So SNC, we have a couple programs that we operate in partnership with the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, a provincial water quality monitoring network program and a provincial groundwater monitoring network program. And the picture in this slide shows us doing some water quality monitoring in support of our monitoring wells. We have 17 across the jurisdiction, and we monitor groundwater levels on an hourly basis, actually. that a lot of that data transmits in near real time, and we capture it in-house in our water information system. And that supports a number of programs, including that that low water program that I was talking about in the last slide.
Any questions in this
Madam Chair,
regard?
Bill's hand did go up.
Bill, go ahead.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I'm having trouble getting this darn mute button on and off. Yes, the question I have is, who is that information available to directly at this time? And are there plans that it would be more widely scaled in the future?
Yes, so currently, because it is a provincial program, you can get historical data on the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks open portal, but that data typically it's usually current to maybe about a year ago or so. So that would, right now, if you went on, it would have data actually up to maybe only 2019. We do share it out. So when we get data requests currently, we will share that information. There are plans to get some of this data up onto SNC's website. We're working on a map right now. We have a map, and it's almost like a little dashboard where you can see all of the stations across the jurisdiction, and you can select those stations to look at data collected at them. So I think there are plans to get our groundwater levels up on that site as well.
Thank you. Andre, you have a question?
Yes, I do. Good morning, Kat.
Good morning.
Yeah, you said that you have several locations where you actually did some work as far as the water level. Were they all in the same area? Are they covering basically a larger area?
We have, so those wells are across the entire jurisdiction. So the most northeast station that we have is actually near Lefebvre, and the most southwest location is in Maynard in Augusta. So, and then there's lots of wells scattered in between across the jurisdiction.
You also, can I have another questions?
Follow up, go ahead.
Yes, you also mentioned that you have been monitoring these wells for what, 5 years now?
We actually have a quite a long period of record on them, up to 20 years in some cases.
Oh,
and yes, and actually the hydrologic model that SNC has been, this data was really helpful in helping to calibrate that model. So it's been a great program to have, very useful.
And you also mentioned that the groundwater level has been dropping, going down. Was this a significant amount?
Oh, I don't know if so. We can use this information for our low water response program. So we have noticed, because we have that 20-year period of record now, it's becoming a good indicator for us during periods of low water. And we did see it did approach those lower levels during times this summer, and it's rebounding now. So.
Thank you.
Any further questions? You can proceed, Kat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we received Eastern Ontario Water Resource Program funds this past year to install a new climate station within the city of Ottawa near Carlsbad Springs. This is on a National Capital Commission property right next to South Bearbrook. So it was an area where we had a data gap, both for climate-related parameters as well as stream flows. So this station, in the photo here, you'll see the all-weather precipitation gauge. It's sort of that white bucket. Yeah, correct. So that allows us to understand you know, precipitation all year round, so snow, sleet, rain. We also have soil moisture, snow depth, and then we also have a water level at this station in South Bear Brook. So that, again, it fills in a data gap and allows us to better understand, I guess, the terrestrial water cycle in this area. And once again, this station transmits data in near real time, and we capture it in our water information system at SNC. So we have that information at our fingertips within the hour almost. So it's very helpful for our flood forecasting and warning and low water response programs.
So Tara, you have a question? Go ahead.
I do. Thanks so much for sharing, Kat, and thanks, Madam Chair. I may have missed it, but did you mention when the new weather station is going to begin collecting data, or has it begun already?
It's already, so we have most equipment has been installed. We are working with the City of Ottawa currently to get that radar sensor installed on the Hall Road Bridge. So that's the one sensor that we're still awaiting installation, but all other sensors are installed and transmitting data. And Tara, I can share all of that information with you on how to access the that data through the NOAA site.
Any further
Trying
questions
to
or
unmute
follow-up,
myself,
Tara?
but it keeps well.
That's all right.
Yes, that would be wonderful if you could share. That's great. I'm just thinking, you know, with all the with the new community that's being built, or that's, you know, where we've got studies underway for Taywin, we'll be beginning some of those studies as well. This type of information is going to be invaluable, I think. So it's great. Yeah, that's it. I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
No, I'm pleased to see another location installed. We're always indicating that there's gaps in the data that we receive. So the more data, the better we can make decisions on. So thank you for that, Kat. If you want to move ahead.
Okay, actually, I did just have one more quick note about that, those installations. I just wanted to give a shout out to our lands department. We've shared some of these photos with the equipment suppliers, and they say that these are some of the best installations that they've ever seen. So
Nice.
just a shout out to the group here that installs them. So we had received Eastern Ontario Water Resource Program funds to work on updating the water budget for the South Nation River watershed, and to do an analysis on future climate impacts. And so for that study, we had looked at not only increases in precipitation across the jurisdiction due to climate change, but also we had access to a model that showed how land use was going to change as well out to 2050. So we took that information and we modeled how flows were going to change across the jurisdiction. Basically, flows are going to increase pretty significantly, depending on what catchment you're looking at, based on those percent increases in precipitation for extreme weather as well as land use changes. The next part of this project is taking some of that modeled information and updating our floodplain studies actually to see how that might, if those changes were to happen, how that could impact floodplains. And I do have a report on this study later on in the meeting as well.
Thank you. Any questions at this time? Seeing no hands. Thank you. So we're on to item number 7. Thank you, Kat, for that update, and we'll look to speak to you a little later on this last one here. So we're on to item number 7, which is the roundtable community engagement. And I know we're not out there and meeting as we usually are, but I'm hoping that there's been some opportunities for some to talk about the program and or encourage others to engage in the programs. Or so I'm looking for hands up if you have. Seeing none. I have to admit.
Bill's just went up.
Bill's hands up. I know Bill is always encouraging or talking about the program because he meets regularly with my municipality. So I do thank him for that. So, but go ahead, Bill.
That's all I was going to report. That I did a report on Tuesday night of last week to the township. It was a general report, but it's open to questions, and they are always quite interested in and have some good questions on what's happening at South Nation. And they were interested in the number of committee meetings that are held to bring.
Oh, you just muted yourself, Bill.
Okay, and the township is always interested in the community interest and support in the community committee meetings, interest in support in bringing items forward from the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, it's Doug Thompson here. I had a question and it relates to Bill's work. Do we have any idea if if there are similar presentations made to the other municipalities in the way that Bill does? Because Bill does an excellent job, but I'm just wondering if all the municipalities get this kind of feedback, or if they don't, is there some way of putting Bill's type of information together for the municipalities that don't get the same feedback that Bill provides?
Okay, good question. I see Angela's hand up, perhaps maybe to provide some insight or answer.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if my hand, if I have to take it down myself or if it's down or if it's up, but
It's
anyway.
down. It's down.
Fine.
So.
Good morning, everybody. Just to Doug's point, we certainly have a lot going on with the Conservation Authorities Act changes, and I think it's really great whenever board members go out and actually give updates to their council. I do know there's quite a few board members that are giving good updates, but this year in the budget process, we have decided to, as a board and staff, to table the budget to municipalities so that they can, one of two things, provide any comments or feedback that they have, or to request a presentation on our budget and the Conservation Authorities Act changes. So I'm going to be doing those as well into the new year, and we do provide regular communications updates to the councils. So that is what we do. There's always room for more, and so we're trying to be as engaging as possible. And if anybody knows a council or a municipality that would like a presentation on any issue, we're as staff always available to do that. I've done a few councils this past year. Of course, it's always nice to do it in person, but with COVID, a lot of them, they've been virtual, but they've still been pretty good.
Thanks very much, Angela and Jackie.
And it's Bill, and if I could add, at our council meeting last Tuesday, I personally took copies of the budget and gave a quick overview and provided the information of how we want council feedback from now on. And because two of our municipalities in SDNG do not have direct representation, I keep in touch with the mayors of each of North Glengarry and South Stormont as well. I take information and deliver a copy of the budget and offer to give any additional information to the United Counties, always getting a copy to the warden, and they'll get it in the next day or two.
Again, thank you for that, Bill. So just a thought process, if anyone's attending a council meeting and they're going to talk or want support, certainly reach out to one of the site reps. We could come along and speak about the Clean Water Program or sign in online. I think that's an opportunity for us to be engaged at the municipal level as well. A little more hands-on in what we do with the community, their communities. So I think that's an opportunity that could be expanded on as well.
Can I?
Yes,
Andre,
Andre had his hand up.
Can I say a word? Thanks, Angela, for the report.
Oh, you just muted yourself,
Sorry.
Andre.
Okay. Thinking of the United Counties of Prescott Russell, which provide about 40% of the budget of the Clean Water Program, I think it's a worthwhile approach to let them know that the money that they send us is well spent and well received too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All righty. Seeing no further discussion there or hands up, we'll move on to the next item, which is new business.
And Madam Chair, just a point of housekeeping, just a reminder to committee members, we don't have everyone's video feed visible. So again, if you do want to ask a question, can you please use the raise your hand function to make sure we don't miss you?
Thank you. Okay, so item number A is the update on the Conservation Authorities Act, Phase 1 regulations. And thank you, Angela.
Good morning, everyone. I think this presentation will, it's the communications
Oops.
title on this
I
one,
swear
Rhonda.
I
That's okay.
changed that slide. I did.
thought we changed a couple things too, but you know what? We will improvise because that's what we do whenever these things happen, so it's fine. I think this budget, this sort of discussion we were having sort of flows nicely from, the discussion we were having about communications, and I will try to be as brief as possible and not go into too many details, with the exception of letting you know where I think advocacy is important coming from groups like the Clean Water Committee. As a conservation authority, you'll know that South Nation has probably more committees and citizen engagement than I would think probably any conservation authority in the province. That takes, a good amount of effort on the part of staff, but I've also figured that it provided, while it's not perfect, provided the most avenue and ways for feedback and ways for interaction for our authority on our programs and services and the work that you do.
Angela, unfortunately, you've
just
Angela, I'm unfortunately that we've lost your feed. Well, you were kind of halted. So if you could just repeat what you just said. No.
I will try to. I put my video off. Just a second. Can you hear me?
Okay, we're hearing you better now. Better now, yes.
Okay, I took my video feed off and I will speak slowly and just, Jackie, I'm watching you, so if I can see you, so if you put up your hand, let me know if you can't hear me, okay?
Okay, yes.
Is that okay? Thank you. So these are a number of changes that have happened to the Conservation Authorities Act. Next slide, please. And this is why I always am in my office. I just happened to not be in my office one day today, and this is what happens. So I guess I have a lot of have a lot of perspective for people that are always trying to tune in and out with the rural internet. So the Conservation Authorities Act changes were came into force last February. Next slide, please. The main issues that came in last February were that at least 70% of the appointees that a municipality appoints to a conservation authority board had to be an active council member or they had to receive a minister's approval to allow a practice that would have a non-elected official serving on a community seat. However, the ministry said that all current representatives, so those that are in place until the June 2022 election, or sorry, the fall 2022 municipal election, could carry out their terms as are. Next slide, please. In our particular watershed, we have a few different appointments that would require a minister's permission in the next time, but currently no action is required. Next slide, please. Board composition meant that anything that was available on board composition, such as an order in council, was to be made available to the minister. And we did that, a number of months ago. Next slide, please. It's also on our website. The chair and vice chair terms, we didn't have a process that in our current bylaws. We always tried to rotate chairs between City of Ottawa, Leeds, Grenville, Prescott, Russell, and Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry. So we always were trying to rotate those chairs and not have sitting chairs acting for a number of terms in a row. So we didn't have any administrative requirements, and our bylaws were already consistent with chairs serving a one or not serving two consecutive terms. Next slide, please. The agricultural representative, I did want to make the committee aware that the minister can now appoint to a conservation authority board a member of the agricultural sector. Now, those positions are positions that have limited voting abilities with regard to budget, and it was a minister's discretion, but I did want to update you that the minister, we have been asked for information about per diems. And we've also explained the role of this committee. So I think that there's some appetite to do those appointments. So anyone sitting on your local OFA, CFO, NFU, any of those boards, I think it's important that we're aware of those and make sure that that selection and appointment process is consistent with what groups like OFA have advocated for in the past. So I think there is going to be some appetite to make those appointments. Next slide. Changes requiring conservation authorities follow general accepted accounting principles for local governments, and we were, of course, doing that in accordance with those bylaws. Next slide, please. All of the documents from the CA were to be made public, such things as agendas, meeting minutes, and auditors' reports, and those informations are currently available on the South Nation website as well, so no big action required there. Next slide. Discussions of the powers of conservation authorities, that staff must receive landowner consent to enter land for the purposes of CA projects. And of course, we didn't go on to private property without permission in the past, whether it was for, any projects or any collection of data. What was interesting as well with respect to the things like the Castleman to Lemieux landslide area is that the Conservation Authority power to expropriate lands was actually appealed in the Act. I don't know if the people that did that quite understand that. I think that what they think they were doing was taking away a Conservation Authority's right to expropriate land for the purposes of things like parks and trails. I don't know that they really understood thoroughly our role in natural hazards protection, but nonetheless, it is removed and repealed. So that's of importance for areas like the Castleman to Lemieux potential retrogressive landslide area, where it's clear now that we have no power to go in and expropriate anyone there. So that's kind of good news for the liability of this authority anyways. Next slide. There was a number of things that were posted, regulatory guides. I can let you catch up on those at your own leisure. Next slide. We've been presenting to the board of directors our programs, and we've presented sort of under some major categories and programs. One of the final programs that we do have to present, though, is things like the Clean Water Program and the Stewardship and Outreach Program. We're currently in the process of providing what's called the transition plan, and then we're required to provide a list of mandatory programs and services. So some of the few things that haven't been included as what is called a mandatory program are things like stewardship and outreach. And so I do think that those are areas where it's important for all of us to make it known that these are programs that are long-standing from the authority, and they have value. So while we've had different times where, we may not agree and they may not be 100% perfect, the programs and services, I think we have the venue in our committees to be able to have the discussions. And we also have, a lot of people in the community that know about these programs and services. So it's going to be important for us to have good presentations to the municipalities and, frankly, good support from our committees if these are programs and services that the committees, staff, and the board believe are important to proceed in the watershed. Next slide, please. The municipal levy, we've just been going out. Like I said, our levy is provided to us by the Ministry of Conservation and Parks, and we got those figures in September. And we are currently, we just did our budget presentation last month, or this month. I guess we're still in November, though I feel I've lost some time from August to December. I don't know about the rest of you. But of course, our levy and budget are out. It's pretty much a status quo budget for the 2022 budget, but we're circulating that out to member municipalities for their comments and feedback. Next slide, please. So that wraps up my presentation this morning. As you know, I'm always available to go out to community groups, whether in person or online, and usually I'm in my office. That's where you find me. So it's just a real pleasure to work with all of you over so many years, and it's I think a testament to where we can go in the future and just why it's important to continue to work together. Like I said, you'll see some information and some listening sessions for changes to the Conservation Authorities Act and programs and service updates. And if you have anything throughout, we're of course as staff here. And I think that overall, the way we've done our programs and services is important, and the way we've got our advisory committees that provide input is also important. So with that, I'll just take any questions and be pleased to answer those. I'm going to try it with my video on.
So I'm just going to take a moment and thank Angela for that update and overview. It looks to us that we're sort of the CA is in a pretty good position based on the updated Conservation Authorities Act in the phase 1. As always, there's some things that we have to change and adjust to, and lobby for almost with our municipalities. So therefore, it's key that we do speak up and let our municipalities know how important these programs are and to continue to support them. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you again, Angela, and we'll reach out to you if we have any questions.
Yeah, and I think just overall, like in summary, the programs and services work when all the municipalities work together. So if there's anything, whether it's stewardship or otherwise, that's piecemeal, it's very challenging if things go piecemeal, if people don't wish to support it together. I think we do have one hand, Madam Chair.
It's Doug.
Oh, go ahead, Doug. Sorry.
Okay, thanks, Madam Chair, and thanks for the report, Angela. Is there anything, I'm always interested in Conservation Ontario. Maybe a brief comment on how that's working out, because I presume there are no in-person meetings, so I'm just wondering how the connection is working.
I do have a general manager's call this afternoon with Conservation Ontario. I think what they're doing, Doug, is just the best that they can.
Yeah.
And I think that the good part about it is that they're being responsive to conservation authorities right now that may have sort of, better feedback about what will be practical and work on the ground in the negotiations directly with the municipalities. So on that front, I've been satisfied with the approach that they are taking.
Okay, thanks very much.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you again, Angela, for that update.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
So we're on to item number B, which is the request for approval, the Eastern Ontario Water Resources Program. It's in pages 9 to 10.
Madam Chair.
Go
I'll
ahead.
turn your attention to page 10, which summarizes the financial statement for those that have the agendas in front of you. So again, this is an updated financial statement for the Eastern Ontario Water Resources Program for the period of January 1st to November 15th, 2021. We started the year with a budget of just over 97,000. As of November 15th, we have approximately 62,000 spent. We are forecasting just over 80,000 at year end. So there is a small carryover associated with projects that were approved this year and carrying forward for completion in 2022 for a total amount of 17,000 as per page 10. I do have a correction, Madam Chair. We did not receive a final report for one of the projects. And I do need to carry the funding for that project forward so that we can receive that report next year. So it is item 3B in your table, the Lagoon Effluent Tree Irrigation and Evapotranspiration Study in the amount of 3,000. We were anticipating that report to come in for this agenda when I prepared the report. So the forecast of 3,000 at December 31st will move to carry forward to 2022, bringing the total carry forward to 20,000. And with your permission, Madam Chair, I would just like to add and further that to the recommendation on page 9. And further that would be that we carry the 3,000 for that project forward to 2022 for project completion.
Now, Rhonda, you're looking for that as a combined approval?
Yes, we can do that as an and further that if the mover and seconder agree.
Okay. So so I'm looking for a mover and seconder, please.
I see Doug.
So move Doug and Tara.
Tara.
Okay, thank you. Discussion, please.
And Andre's hand is up, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Andre.
No, I was just going to second your motion, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, then I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you. So, item C is request for approval of the Eastern Ontario Water Resources Program projects.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is the project I was talking about in the staff update. Last year, SNC had received EWRP funds to do an impact assessment looking at future climate impacts on stream flows in the South Nation River watershed. This year, we had applied for funding to the Eastern Ontario Water Resource Program to take that project further and look at flood vulnerability across the South Nation River watershed. So this piece of the project is taking those changes in environmental conditions and then looking at what the impacts are going to be on the landscape. So we would be updating, we would be, I guess, modeling some of our floodplains to see how those floodplains might be impacted by increased flows. We would look at associated impacts to properties and infrastructure that would be potentially impacted by those changes to the floodplains. I have to say I'm actually currently taking a course at the University of Saskatchewan in climate change vulnerability assessments, and it's really interesting to see the number, or I guess the different businesses out there that are incorporating these vulnerability assessments into their future strategies, mostly resource-based businesses such as forestry, mining, oil, and then also we've seen several municipalities starting to incorporate these vulnerability assessments into future strategies as well. And that's to really build resiliency. So we have started this project. The bulk of the work will be completed in 2022. So we would be looking to bring a final report to the Clean Water Committee next year in September, and we're looking to approve I guess expenditures of 2,800 for 2021 and carry forward the remaining funds of $9,000 to 2022. And I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to look for a mover and seconder before discussion. Seeing no hands.
Oh,
Andre and Tara. Okay, discussion? Questions? Seeing or hearing none, I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none or hearing none, that is carried. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2, South Nation Conservation Climate Station. You're back up, Kat.
Yes. So again, I gave you an overview of this project in the staff update. So this is the station that we installed on National Capital Commission property next to South Bearbrook. The station has been installed, save for one sensor that we're working with the City of Ottawa on getting that sensor installed on Hall Road, the bridge over South Bearbrook. But otherwise, the station is transmitting data, and we are now capturing that information into our water information system and here at South Nation, so that information will be used in our flood forecasting and warning and low water response programs. And I will be reaching out to Tara there to share how to get that data. So we're looking for approval for expenditures of $12,000 for this project.
Okay, so again, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Prior to
Michelle
Doug
and Doug.
Okay.
Michelle Kearney is the other one.
I see that now, Michelle. Any discussion, questions? Seeing or hearing none, I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none or hearing none, thank you very much. That is carried. Okay, item number D, everyone, is the Ottawa Rural Clean Water Project applications, and that is on pages 13 to 16 in your agenda package.
And just before we start, I would just like to let the committee know that Rideau Valley just held a meeting for projects within their jurisdiction, as well as Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority's area. It does appear that we are fully allocated for this year's budget, so we would be doing conditional approvals today. If there are projects you wish to support, they will be on the waiting list for confirmation of available funding.
Thank you for the update. I'm always pleased to hear that there's lots of projects out there, and but never pleased to hear that it's over allocated. So just an idea that there's many projects, more projects than dollars, as with a lot of programs. So thank you for that, Rhonda. So we'll start with the first one, and it's on page 13. And
Lori, we don't have
Is there
any
someone
photos for
to-
these. Oh no, sorry. It's me. I have to switch slide decks. One moment.
That's all right.
Gotta
You're
drive 2
allowed.
shows here this morning. There we go.
So is there someone to speak to this
So,
project, Rhonda?
Andre's-
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
we hear
okay,
you fine.
very good. I'm surprised by the picture, which I thought it was a drill well that we were supposed to talk about, but maybe is this a new well? Does anybody know?
Yes.
This is the new well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The well that they want to decommission is an old well of 70 years old. It's a 4-inch drill well. And I understand that according to the contractor, the pipe, which was 50 feet deep, collapsed. So that's why they had to replace it.
Okay. Is there any questions? So just so everybody's clear, it's the applications for well abandonment. The pictures that we're seeing is actually the new well that's been installed. And the grant.
I imagine, because whenever I was talking to the applicant, he was talking about a 4-inch drill well. So I imagine this is the new well.
Okay. And the grant request is for $1,080. Any questions? Rhonda, I have a question. Are we approving them, rating? There's no rating on these
There's no
projects.
rating for Ottawa, so you can do a conditional approval if you so wish.
I'm just looking for movers and sectors for individually or
yes,
each project. Okay.
So
Doug
have
a question, or are you moving? I think
Moving.
you said moving. Okay, Doug Thompson moves.
I
looking
think
for
Michelle's hand was up before Ray's.
Okay.
I'll second Jackie.
All right. So I heard Andre, so I'm going to put him down. Sorry. Adrian, I heard you.
Yeah.
So I'll put you down. Okay. So any questions in this regard?
Tara has her hand up, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Tara.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question for Rhonda. It's not about this project per se, but about the, the total, all the Ottawa clean water projects that we're looking at today. And then what you had mentioned earlier about Rideau Valley and Mississippi Valley already having had a meeting and that we're fully subscribed. Is there not some way we can kind of make sure that, we're equitably distributing our projects across the 3 conservation authorities? Like, can we discuss later offline, maybe with Derek or something, to make sure that just because Rideau Valley met first, doesn't seem fair that we don't look at these projects too.
Right. So we have approved projects at our June meeting, and Lori, I don't remember if we had any last meeting in September. So we have approved some projects through the Ottawa program already. Typically, we try to meet around the same time as conservation authorities. However, this year, Rideau's review meeting was delayed until the fall. So all of their projects came just last week, I believe it was, where we have seen a few come through and be approved at our end already. But yes, we can certainly have a discussion amongst the CA partners on timing of meetings moving forward.
Okay, thanks. No, I realize that, yeah, the Rideau's meeting was the only meeting this year to be held, but there was quite a number of projects that were like at that meeting. So I don't know how to work it out exactly, but just wanted to ask the question. So thank you.
Thank you, Tara. And good point. Okay, so I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, it's carried. So on to page 14.
Yes, this is again an Ottawa video project. This is for forest management plan. And I was talking to the applicant, and she said that the plan was for a 22-acre forest, which was completed in April 2020. That's basically my comments.
Okay, looking for a mover and a seconder. Okay, Michelle and Tara, thank you. Okay, now any discussion questions?
Tara's hand.
Tara, your hand's up.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. I was wondering when, like you mentioned, Andre had mentioned that the plan was done in April of 2020. Just wondering if the applicant had made contact with the program before the project was undertaken.
I can answer that, and the answer is yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you for answering that, Lori. Any further questions? Seeing none, is anyone opposed? Seeing no opposition, I'll call that carried. Thank you. Page 15. Is this
This is a GPS. That's not the actual GPS that the applicant is asking for, but it'd be very similar to this one. This is to install a GPS precision farming project for on a tractor for seeding mainly, and applying seeding and planting and applying fertilizer.
okay? So the grant request is for $1,000, understanding that we're conditional. I'm looking for a mover and seconder.
So moved, it's Alan.
Renee, oh, Alan, and then Renee. Any further discussion? Adrian, your hand's up or no? You have a question?
No, I was just gonna second, but I was too slow.
Okay, I see it's down now. All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. Page 16.
Oh. Is that the right page? I have a well decom for Ottawa still.
My mistake. That's my mistake. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, it's a well decom.
Are we on the correct page, Laura? 16?
Yeah, and
the photo doesn't match the project.
No, that's my error.
Is it this
No
one, Laura?
worries.
2364.
Yes.
2364 DDA. Yep. This
Okay.
is the pictures, Andre. So.
Okay, thank you. I was talking to the applicant, and she mentioned that it is a drill well, which I guess we can see on the picture on the right, and maybe on the left too, which is either a 5 or 6 inches in diameter, which I don't recall exactly. And it's it is a 250 feet deep, so it's very deep. And I guess they want to decommission it because I think although I don't recall, I don't think they need it anymore.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Russell, thank you. Tara, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. So, was there another project, Lori, that was in the picture, or is that another
No,
program?
that was this. No, that was the sketch that goes with the well decommissioning. The one
Okay,
we just
thank you.
approved.
Thank you. All right. So I believe that concludes the Ottawa Rural Clean Water Project applications. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects approved conditionally, depending on funding. Rhonda, could you give us a quick tab of what those dollars would be? Additional.
1 second, I didn't actually. Laura, do you have those added up by any chance? I'll do it quickly.
2, 3.
No, I don't, Rhonda. Sorry.
Okay, give me 1 second.
No worries.
4,780.
All right. Just so you know, Tara. All righty. So moving on. We're on item number E, the summary of the Clean Water Program grant applications. And you're up, Rhonda, and these are pages from 17 to 19 in your agenda package.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll turn your attention to page 18, which summarizes the projects that have come before the committee up into today's meeting. So the first table on page 18 summarizes the projects that were approved at our June 7th meeting. So we did allocate 19,000 to the projects noted there in June. We did approve another set of projects, table 2, at our September 13th meeting for a total of 17,785. As of the September meeting, we do have a number of projects on a waiting list, which is table 3 starting on page 18. And if you turn your attention to page 19, there is just over 30,500 projects on the waiting list. Just a note, I do have a subsequent report coming up after we review the new projects that will deal with our waiting list for 2021. Table 4 summarizes the projects which have come before you today, including the cover crop that we dealt with under business arising. And at the bottom of page 19, you'll see a summary of all those tables. So again, we had a $60,000 budget at the beginning of the year for grants for projects in 2021. We have heard back from a few of our 2020 approved projects that have indicated they're not proceeding. So that has freed up an additional 10,500 in surplus from those approved projects, bringing our total available this year to 70,500. With projects approved to date at both the June and September meetings, we do have available for this meeting 33,715. Again, we have requests today of 26,175. So if all those projects were to be approved, there would still be a surplus available of approximately 7,500 to address the waiting list, which again, we will have a separate report on coming up. So then again, this is just for your information. So we do have enough funding available to cover any of the projects that come before us today that meet the minimum threshold of 21.5 points. And then any projects after that will be added to the waiting list and dealt with in a separate report following the grant review. And again, we don't need a resolution on this. It's for information purposes only.
Alrighty. Any questions of Rhonda and how that's laid out in our oh, go ahead, Ray. Ray, you're muted.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just questioning about the sketch on page 16 for 05/21/2363. It looks like some kind of a creek requirement. Did we skip that?
No, I understand
that was in error, that one. Sorry, Ray, you can disregard that one.
Okay, just ignore that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions in regards to the information that Rhonda has provided? In summary, Seeing none, we'll move on. Okay, so we're on to the projects. Item number F, pages 20 to 33, I believe.
So this was going to be Jason, and we apologize. We put it out of order, hoping that we would be able to get to this project before Jason had to leave us. He had to leave for another site visit, so I'll cover these for him. So if you don't mind flipping forward in your agenda to page 31. This is an erosion project on the Castor River in Nation Municipality. The photos here show you the property. If you look at the bottom one in the very back corner, kind of where my pointer is, that is the neighboring property that has had erosion work done. What you're seeing there is the riprap where the property ends for the neighboring property. So the proposal is to reslope geotextile and riprap, so standard for stabilizing shoreline. They do have the minimum 3 meters indicated that is required as part of the grant. So a fairly straightforward project for this one. Jason's notes at the bottom of the rating sheet is just that, again, that they propose to cut back the slope, place riprap over geotextile, and they've revised their sketch to make sure that it does indicate the 3 meter minimum buffer, and they do have right now a sub-score of 18.
Okay. So any questions of Rhonda before we go through committee scoring? Seeing none, if you want to call the numbers there, Rhonda, we'll go ahead.
Start with number 1.
4.
Number 2.
4.
Number 3.
4.
Number 4.
4.
Number 5.
3.
Number 6.
3.
Number 7. Renee, are you there?
3.
Thank you. Number 9.
Number 9, Glenn, can you hear?
3.
Thank you.
3.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 11.
3.
Number 12. Oh, you're muted, Andre.
4.
Okay. Number 13.
4.
15. I'm not sure if, let me just check to see if he's on. Okay. Number 16.
5.
And number 18, which is
3.
Adrian. You okay? 3.6. So final score of 21.6.
Rhonda, if you could just remind what scoring, sort of the level of scoring above for funding.
Yes, so the minimum
Just a
threshold for
reminder.
approved projects is 21.5, so this one would be approved based on the rating score. And again, anything below 21.5 we'll deal with in the next report that deals with the waiting list.
Okay, thank you for that. Moving on to the next project.
Again, this is one of Jason's. You'll find it on page 33. It is another erosion project in Nation Municipality. What you're seeing in the photos are the gullies that are on the property. The fields are above these, so it is quite a significant gully that the landowner is looking to address. Bear with me as I walk you through this diagram. So Paxton Creek down here, this is sort of the gully area. They do have a pre-existing berm, although it's degraded. So what they are proposing to do is to reconstruct the berm. It's not a large berm, it's just enough to slope the water towards the field where they're going to install a hicken bottom. The hicken bottom will then be piped directly to Paxton Creek, so it will eliminate the overland flow, which is causing the erosion in the gully. There will be a 3-meter buffer on the back side of the berm. So again, the berm is just going to be large enough and is already pre-existing to slope the water towards the new hicken bottom, which will address the overland flow, which is causing the erosion. So we did add this type of project as an eligible criteria to our guideline a few years ago. We don't see many requests for the hicken bottoms, but they are eligible. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of this project? All right, we'll go through the rating process.
Okay, number 1.
4.
2.
4.
3.
5.
4.
5.
5.
4.
6.
4.
7.
4.
8. Oh, sorry, 9. Glenn, are you still there? Okay, not hearing Glenn. 11.
Oh, sorry, 3.
12. Oh, sorry, I missed that, Andre.
5.
Thank you. 13.
5.
Oh, sorry, 15. No, 15's gone. 16.
5.
And 18.
4.
Thank you. All right, so our score is 4.3, bringing the total score to 24.3.
Okay, thank you, Rhonda.
And with that, we can move back to page 20.
Okay, so Andre, you're up.
Yes, this is a commercial cash crop producer. The intent is to put in some wild radishes and ryegrass in a green corn field of 100-acre field, which is heavy clay. And the cover crop will be going in whenever the corn will be approximately 8 to 10 inches, 12 inches high. And it'd be the wild radishes and ryegrass will be till under next spring for the next crop, which will be most likely soybean.
Any questions of this project? See, oh, there's a hand up. Alan, go ahead.
Just a quick question, Andre, did he come up with some justification for the $60 an acre for the cover crop? Is that including seeding or is that just seed costs?
Actually, Alan, the $60 came up. I was at this place when we look at the application and the forms, and he did call the dealer to find out how much it would be per acre, and this is the figure that they come up with, 60 acre. That's all I can tell you, Alan.
Madam Chair, I can clarify that we are paying it as a per acre performance incentive, not a straight grant on the cost. So the $1,000 is based on the per acre grant. Yep.
Okay, any further questions? We'll start the rating.
All right, number 1.
4.
2.
4.
3,
4.
4,
4.
5,
4.
4.
7,
4.
9, are you there?
4.
Thank you. 11,
4.
13,
Oh, sorry. 4.
15. Don't think, no, he's not. Oh, still on mute. Okay, 16,
4.
18.
4.
Our score is 3.7, 22.2.
Okay. Moving forward on to page 21. Andre?
Yes, this is another cover crop. This is a certified organic producer of approximately 1,000-acre farm, which he crops. Actually, the picture was taken in early November, I believe. And it's not very clear, but the ground was covered basically at the time that I was to take the picture. And the mixture that he put in is 180 pounds of oats mixed with peas and wild radishes, which would be till under in the spring and be soybean next year, 2022. And there's a large creek I guess you can see the Cordon, which is a large natural creek at the back there.
Any question? Oh, I see a hand up. Russell, go ahead.
I just noticed that the cost per acre is twice the previous one. Any comment?
No comment, except that the seeding rate is quite high at 180 pounds. We have to remember that this is a certified organic producer, and at the same time, he wants to increase the organic matter of his soil. Most likely, that's why it may be higher. I don't have the I don't see how much it costs per acre, but that's the only reason I can give you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll go through the rating.
Okay, number 1.
4.
Number 2.
4.
3.
4.
4.
4.
5.
4.
6.
3.
7.
4.
9.
4.
7.
3.
'Sorry, are you on me, Rhonda?
Yes, I am.
4. I don't know why I keep missing myself.
Second here. 15, I think, is probably still muted.
16 is 4.
Thank you. And 18.
4.
So 3.8 for a total of 22.8. Okay, and Andre, I just muted you for the background noise. So you'll have to unmute again to present the next one.
So page 22, everyone.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And this is another certified organic producer, smaller acreage than the previous one as a producer. And he did put in winter rye again to build in his soil. This one has a seeding rate of 215 pounds per acre, basically for improve the soil structure and texture. That's the term that he used to describe why he used it. And he be till in the spring for soybean.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, we'll go through the rating. Alan, did you have a question?
Sorry, yeah, I just want, how many acres is he trying to cover here?
This was a 40-acre field, but only 20 acres would be eligible for the program.
Right, okay. And 200 pounds an acre.
That's the figure he gave me, 215.
Wow.
Which I thought was high, but anyhow, I mean, this is an organic producer, so they want to, I think they rely quite heavily. I don't know much about organic production, but I think they rely on cover crop basically to increase the organic matter of this field.
And what's being planted next year? Spring wheat?
I'm not sure. Just a second. I'll see if I can see it.
Page 22 says soybean or corn.
Yeah, I think it was soybean. I think that's what he told me. I have soybean in my notes. Sorry.
Any further questions, Alan?
I'm good.
Mark,
go ahead.
It's a bit, yeah, I think it's a bit exaggerated that 215. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Just again, the payout is based on acreage and a set rate. But it's good to question how they do things and why are they doing it this way, right? So
again, we
Sorry,
have to remember that this applicant is a certified organic producer, and why they use this rate of seeding, I imagine they must have a good reason, because they would not otherwise. It's high though.
Yeah. Okay. So seeing no further questions in this regard, I'll have Rhonda do the rating.
Great, Andre. I'm just going to mute you again just while we do the vote. So I've muted you. You're fine. Number 1.
5.
2.
4.
3.
4.
4.
4.
5.
4.
6.
3.
7.
4.
9.
4.
11.
3.
13.
4.
16.
4.
And 18.
4. 4.
So 3.9 or 23.2.
Okay, thank you. On to page 23. And this is controlled trial drain. Go ahead, Andre. Is he unmuted?
Yes. Yeah, okay, that's fine, thank you. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the first time we have a request for a grant for the controlled tile drainage program.
It's actually our second, but the first one didn't proceed. It was one of the ones that from 2020 that's not proceeding.
Okay. Well, this one, I mean, this is for it's for a cash crop organic producer. And it's for a field of 52 acres. And he wants to install 5 units on the existing outlet tiles, which would mean approximately 10 acres will be under each unit. And he has an engineered plan to support the project, which I thought was very well done. It's a firm from Quebec somewhere, I'm not sure exactly where, but it was very well done. So I strongly recommend that we consider this project.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll proceed with rating.
Number 1.
4.
2.
4 for number 2.
Okay, thank you. Number 3.
5.
4.
5.
5.
5.
6.
5.
7.
5.
9.
5.
11. Madam Chair.
Oh, sorry, you went to me. Sorry. 5.
13.
5.
16.
4.
And 18.
5.
So 4.8 or 26.8.
Okay, thank you. Page 25.
Okay, again, this is a cover crop, slightly different than the previous ones that we look at. This is a small beef operator with, I think, approximately 10 head, very small. And he wants to reseed one of his field, which is a 15-acre field, I believe. And at the same time, he did drain a section of the field, and he closed one of the ditch, and he wants to use the cover crop to basically improve the soil structure and texture of his field. And he did put in winter rye at, I think, almost 200 pounds per acre, sorry.
Questions? I have a question about closing a ditch.
It was done by the contractor, the same contractor that actually drained a portion of the field.
And of course, he got a permit for that, right?
I would, yeah.
I
It-
don't know.
It depends on the size and nature of the ditch. There are some small ditches that aren't captured by regulation, but we can follow up with our regulations department to ensure that if there was one required, that there was one obtained.
Actually, looking at the field, I saw the field once the ditch was filled, sorry. It was more of a gully. I call it the ditch, but it was more of a gully within the small ditch at the bottom.
So again, the funding request then is for the cover crop of the rye.
Yes, and there is less than 20 acres on. I don't recall exactly how many acres, but it's less.
Oh, you muted.
So it looks I might have a question. Yeah, Russell, go ahead.
Excuse me, thanks, Madam Chair. Andre, is the intent here would be to work through this bit of a gully or filled-in ditch?
Yes, that's the intent. It's not a large field, and he wants to expand to use the maximum of his field. It's not a huge gully. I mean, it's basically quite a large depression in the field.
Okay.
Is it a natural
See.
gully?
Come again?
Is it a natural gully?
Oh, yes.
Okay, Alan, your hand is up.
Just a quick, what's our grant rate? $50 an acre?
No,
Yes.
no, more than that. $50, yes.
Okay.
So
The grant
this-
rate is $50 acre.
Yes. This would be less than the maximum though.
Yeah, because it's only 15 acres.
I think that's what it is, 15 acres, yeah.
Okay, any further questions?
Can you just maybe explain to me quickly how he's going to do this, Andre? So it's a hay field.
It's a pasture field, which I think it was more of a pasture field this year.
So he sprayed it off and then he planted
sprayed it off.
rye.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he did work some drainage on the field at the same time. And he used some. I'm not sure which herbicide he used though.
Okay, well, it doesn't really matter.
But the intent next year is to reseed it back right away for hay.
Okay.
Okay, clear as mud. We're ready to rate.
Number 1.
3.
Are you there, Ray?
Yeah, I didn't hear your number 2, so yes, 4.
Number 3.
4.
Number 4.
3.
Number 5.
4.
6.
3.
7.
3.
9.
4.
11.
3.
13.
4.
15. Still muted. No, he's gone. Okay. 16.
4.
18.
3.
3.3 for a total of 21.9.
Okay. Andre, you have been busy. On to the next one on page 26.
Yes, this is an interesting project. This is for a septic system. This is a system which has been in place for 40 years. It's between the hot tub and I think it was the entrance of the house there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a kind of a white, I think it's something. Anyhow, this is a household of 8 person, the parents and 6 kids. I was surprised when I heard that. And each spring and whenever there's a lot of water in the ground with either rains or whatever precipitation, the system overflows. So they don't have really a choice. They have to replace it.
Okay, any questions? All right, seeing none, we'll go through the process again.
Number 1.
4.
2.
5.
3.
5.
4.
5.
5.
4.
6.
4.
7. 'Renee? Okay, number 9.
5.
11,
5.
15,
5.
16,
5.
18.
5.
Number 7, are you there?
Number 5.
Okay, thank you. So that is 4.3 or 23.3.
All right. A few more projects to go. So page 27.
Okay, these were pictures that were taken by the contractor. No site visit was done, and the applications and everything was done by the contractor. Anyhow, I did talk to the applicant. It was dug well of 36 inches in diameter, approximately 20 feet deep. 40 years old well, approximately. And the applicant was saying that it was contaminated with E. coli. And he was also saying that there were no rings, no seal between the tiles.
Okay. Any questions? So this is for a well decommission. And we can go ahead and
Excuse
rate.
me. Hey,
Sorry, go ahead,
excuse me.
Mark.
Yeah, the person will drill another well close to that one or somewhere else?
Andre?
I don't know if whether I know that the contractor will be, I imagine, be a dug well, the new well, but I don't know how close it will be to the old one to be decommissioned. I don't know.
Any further questions, discussion? We'll go ahead and rate, Rhonda.
Okay, number 1.
5.
2.
4.
3.
4.
4.
5.
5.
4.
4.
7.
5.
9.
5.
7.
4.
5.
16.
If it was 16, it's 5.
Yes, thank you. And 18.
5.
Okay, 4.6 or 23.6.
Okay, thank you. On to page 28.
Oh, okay. This is a very different situation. This is a large poultry farm laying hens of approximately 20,000 birds. This farm has 2 large barns at 2 different locations. This is at one of the barn, which over the years he has been drilling 5 different wells to try to get sufficient water for the birds. Of the 5, the depth, just a second, between 60 feet deep and 260 feet deep. And out of the 5, 3, he wants to decommission 3 because they're not worthwhile to keep. Presently, he has a contract with the geologists to try to find the best location for a new well if he is going to drill another well. or the other possibility is to look at the artificial pond in neighboring natural drain. I was at the farm, which I took the pictures, and it's a very nice setup. But I can see that the owner, I mean, was anxious to find some wells or other sources of water for these birds.
Okay. Is there any questions in this regard?
And he has 3 different wells, which I think we have 3 different ratings, which will be similar, although one is maybe slightly less because it'd be away from the barn.
Okay, I see Alan, your hand was up first.
Just a quick question, Andre. So he has 2 wells that he's keeping, one at 225 and one at 93, and those are now providing sufficient amount of water?
Yeah, for the meantime, but he's not sure how long they're going to last with only 2 wells.
Okay, and he wants to decommission 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Tara?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Just a question on the process. Are we going to be rating each of the well decommissions separately or together?
The committee can review them as one big project if you wish to keep your same scores. Just a note, as Andre mentioned, the scoring sub-score is slightly different for each, so it may not result in the same final score. But if the committee chooses, you can give one score for all 3 wells, or we can do them individually, your choice.
Okay, how about a show of hands to rate them all together? If you can put your hands up.
Looks like we have a majority for that.
Okay,
the
very good.
$2,000, the $2,000, is it for only 1 well or 3 wells?
They are costed separately, Mark. So if you continue flipping pages, you'll see the remainder of the well requests.
Yeah. So, yeah, Rhonda, if you can just. Okay, so
there we go.
The first one is for 1,000. Is that correct?
Yes. So the first
they're all
first
for
request
1,000.
is for they're all for 1,000. The first cost on well A is 2,000 estimate. The cost estimate for well B is 2,000, and the cost estimate for well C is also 2,000.
Yeah. Okay, I see some hands up. Alan, you want to go ahead?
Maybe you could just refresh our memories, Rhonda, on the guidelines for multiple applications from the same person for the same project type. Is that a problem or not?
No, so the only exception we have on multiple projects is for the well decommissioning. So we don't have a limit on the number of applications for well decommissioning. We do have a limit of 1 project per project type for all the others.
Does that answer your question, Alan?
Yep.
Bill, go ahead.
Question answered.
Okay. All right, seeing that we're all on the same page, we'll rate them all together.
Excuse me, I just have another question.
Sure, go ahead, Mark.
Would it be cheap? Yeah, would it be cheaper to to decontaminate all the 3 wells together instead only 1? Or
they will be doing all 3. We just had them cost them out separately, just in case the committee chose to fund 1, 2, or 3. So if the price is less, again, the grant is 100% to a maximum of 1,000. So if the costs come in lower, the grant paid out would reflect that.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good to go, Rhonda.
Okay. Number 1.
4.
2.
4.
Number 3.
3.
4.
4.
5.
5.
3.
6.
4.
7.
5.
9.
5.
11,
3,
15,
5,
16,
5,
Adrian.
5.
Okay, so for the first well, the subscore is 4.3. And give me 4.3 and 22.3 is the total for that one. And give me just a second and I'll give you the other 2 wells. Well B, subscore, they're all 4.3 for the subscores. The final scores for B is 23.3 and for C is 20.3. So A 22.3, B 22.3, and C 20.3.
okay. Thank you. So we're actually on page, somebody have a
may
question?
I ask a question? It's Bill.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill. Go ahead,
I
Bill.
want to go back to the last one, and I can't quite, I didn't see all the scores flashed up each time, but I'm not sure why there's such a discrepancy with C from B and A. It all sounded pretty similar to me, and my feeling on these well closures is that if someone's responsible enough to want to close them, we should be supporting, and this score will be lower than. So it's just, why is number 3 rated so much lower?
So we're
Andre,
looking at the
you
type
mentioned
of well.
distance, I think. It was the distance from.
Basically, I think it was the distance from the barn or the manual storage facility. You can see the last one was the one, yeah, that's right, was the one close to the neighbor line, sorry. Unless I made a mistake in adding up the my score, but I have to agree with you. I mean, I'm sure that whenever the contractor is going to come in to decommission the 2 wells, the 2 other wells, he's going to decommission that one too. And I'm surprised that there's that much of a difference between the score there.
So I just did the math. The math is correct. So it is, I believe, give me 1 second, I'll go back to, it's this number here. And distance. Yep, so it's number 2 and number
1.
Number 4. So this number here, the distance to closest contamination source, excuse me, scored a 2 instead of a 3. And the distance to well or other well in use or other wellhead protection areas scored a 3 out of 4, and that's the difference. So it has to do with the location of the 3rd well.
Madam Chair, if I could make one further comment, and that
Sure,
is,
go ahead.
I see it at the edge of the property, but nobody's telling me what's happening at the next property. And anytime I see a well that's no matter how far from buildings, and if it's in a field, there's going to be fertilizer spread, and there's going to be always the chance of contamination. So I just repeat, and then I'm going to leave it at that. Anybody that takes the responsibility to close wells that have been drilled, to close them properly, I give them all sorts of credit, and I like to support. But having said that, I leave it to the group.
The next property, it's an agricultural farm too, so it's a regular cash crop.
So if the committee so chooses, you can adjust number 4. So it's currently scoring 2 out of 3. So based on Bill's comments, if you so wish, you can amend the score of 2 to 3. That'll add 1 more point. I'll leave that to the discretion of the committee.
So
I would, it's
based on
Glenn
the
here, I would recommend that be up to 3. Moved up to 3.
Okay, Glenn. Alan, are you?
Well, I would just advise a little caution on second guessing the site rep score for things, but since we've already opened this can of worms, number 3, if it scores low, why does it get more than 50%? Right? It's got a 3 out of 5 and it scores low. That should be a 1, right? So, or a 2, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yes, this number here.
Any further discussion?
Check. It's the same with B and the same with C. Sorry, A. So perhaps we can deal with number 4 and then go back and see whether or not number 3 needs to be adjusted, or if we just leave it as is.
Okay. So the feeling is that we want to take a look at this one individually. Rhonda, I'm just not sure how to move forward.
Well, I guess my question first all is based on Bill's comments, does the committee wish to adjust on project C the score for distance to closest contamination source, considering the agricultural field on the neighboring property? Would be the first question. I see Michelle Kearney's hand is up.
Yeah, Michelle, go ahead.
So I just wanted to support Bill's comment because it's very difficult. And I guess as somebody mentioned, maybe in the field it'd be easier to tell, but these are all wells on a farm. And I realize some of them are closer to the barn and maybe up in your pile, which from one perspective, I think that maybe we could score them higher, but they're basically open holes and sort of preferential pathways on a farm. And I'm okay to rate them high, all of them, but that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Okay. I have a question of Andre, if I could. What is the condition of the wells? These are drilled wells and in good condition, is that correct?
Yes, the 5 wells.
Okay.
I mean, actually, I didn't see the 5. I only saw 3 of them because the others they were at a different location on the property. They were all in excellent conditions. Great well.
Okay, so just so for clarification, these wells were drilled and they're in good condition. The issue around the well is there's not insufficient water quantity, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So that's, so that reflects the scoring as well from the rep. I'm speaking from a rep's perspective.
Yes.
The guidelines for scoring were designed and we reviewed all wells in the same format. So my concern is that we make an adjustment to this one when we have never looked at adjusting others. I'm just putting that out there. So Alan, your hand is still up.
Yeah, I'd like to just make a comment to Bill's point. I certainly agree with Bill that we have to seal old wells that aren't being used. But in my opinion, I'd much rather spend the limited money that we have on closing ones that are of greater risk than ones that are in perfectly good condition. There are all kinds of old dug wells out there with a stone on top or something like that I'd much rather see funded than things that are drilled and sealed, done properly.
Okay.
I
So
will second Alan's. I will second Alan comments on that.
Okay. All right. So I'm just sort of based on the discussion, I'm going to bring it back. Do we want to look at changing the rating on this particular well? And I see Ray's hand up. Ray?
Yeah, I would like to support Alan's comments on that, and there are wells out there that need greater attention. So I will abide by the rules.
Okay. So may I have a show of Rhonda? How do you want me to do this?
Well,
Alan,
I
go
think
ahead. You have.
Well, I was just going to make a motion that we leave the site rep scoring to the site reps, and the committee has their own little spot there, number 7, and we'll just leave it at that.
So I don't think we need a motion if we're not changing anything, Madam Chair. If there's consensus among the group, we can let the scores stand as they.
So I would like to see a visual consensus to leave the ratings as is. and that our committee will reflect in our scoring on number 7. So show of hands for that.
Okay, I do
Where
believe
we're at,
we have.
Rhonda.
I think we're between what I can see on video and what's raised hands. I think we're majority, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you for great discussion, though. It's always good to reflect back on why and how and we're doing things. So if you want to lower your hands, we'll move
I
forward.
think I got them all. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
And this is our last project for today. Page
Okay.
32.
How's everybody doing? Do we need a quick 5-minute bio break, or, you know, I know we don't have much more to do, but it's a long time sitting. So would anybody like me to just continue on, or do we need a stretch break or bio break?
5-minute break will be okay.
Yeah. Are you okay with that, Rhonda?
Yep, we're fine. We're at 11 o'clock. So I know we're going to lose
Oh.
Michelle Kearney. He does have another meeting, so he did have to jump off.
Right. All right, so I'm just going to, I see the time is 11:01, and I'm going to give you actually 5 minutes. So we'll be back here at 11:06 and to start again to finish off the meeting, okay?
So I am going to mute all microphones. If you can just, if you want to stay in the meeting, you can. I'm just going to mute everyone. So we'll see you in 5.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, how are we doing? Is everybody back?
Seeing some videos on. Just a reminder, I have muted all lines, so you will need to unmute yourself to speak.
Okay. All right, so hopefully everybody's back and we can move forward. So just Rhonda, I think we're at the point where we need to know what's in, what's out.
So we do have one more project left.
Oh, sorry.
On page 32. Oh, it's two.
I
Yes,
missed
one
that
page on
one.
32.
Sorry. All right. Is Andre back?
Yes, I am.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I guess, can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Yes. The next one is basically same situation as what Alan was mentioning. This was it's a cash crop, commercial cash crop producer that he has a pile of dirt in the middle of the field. So he was one. Oops, sorry. Second, I'll get this out of the way. Okay. He was wondering what was on, so he did call a well-become contractor to see why he had a pile of dirt in the middle of the field. So the contractor came in and they found out that there was a dug well for approximately 10 feet deep, and under that 10 feet or so, there was a piece of metal which was installed, which he figures that most likely there was another drill well under that 10 feet dug well, which quite often happen in some fields. So he wants to decommission both at the same time. I was not on the farm, and there are no pictures, but basically that's the story that the applicant told me. It's a cash producer plus chicken at the same time.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions about this particular project? Seeing none, we'll start the rating process.
Number 1.
5.
2. We have Ray.
Ray?
Ray, you are muted. Okay, I'll come back to number 3. Or sorry, number 2. Number 3.
4.
4. Oh, no, number 4 is gone. Number 5.
5.
6.
5.
7. Renee, are you there? Your line is muted. You'll need to star 6 to unmute. Okay, I'll come back. Number 9, your line is also muted. It's star 6 to unmute. Okay, I'll come back. Number 11. Oh, you're muted too, Madam Chair.
Sorry. 5.
Number 13.
5.
16.
5.
Adrian, if you're on, you are muted. Okay, let me go see with number 2.
5.
Thank you. Number 7, are you there? Again, your line is muted. Star 6 to unmute. Number 9. 18. Your score, Adrian?
4.
All right, so with those that we have, it is 4.8. The final score of 24.8. Just bear with me for a moment and I can give you the order. Okay, so here's the final score. So all except for that final well, well C of the one landowner that had 3 is approved for a total of 25,175. This project here that is scoring 20.3 will be moved to our waiting list and dealt with in the next report.
Okay, any questions of this final
That's 13
tally
projects
here?
approved. This one's probably
Russell? Go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering if the landowner with the 3 wells will have an explanation given as to why 2 were approved and the other one not, as per the comments about distance from the buildings and so forth.
That is correct. We will outline that in their approval letter.
Thanks, Russell, for pointing that out and making sure it's highlighted in the letter. Any other questions?
Okay, so we do need a motion to approve these projects.
Okay, so I'm looking for a mover. Alan, thank you. Seconder. Oh, I see Mark. Is he? I saw your hand up visually. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
second.
okay. All right, thank you. Any further discussion?
I do need
Ray?
also, we can add and further that, Madam Chair, if the mover and seconder agree, and further that the project 33C be moved to the waiting list.
Okay. Are the mover and seconder okay with that amendment?
Yep.
All right. Mark, yes?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Oh,
do
sorry.
see
All
Ray's
those.
hand.
Ray, you have a question? Ray, you're on mute, but your hand is up. Do you have a question?
No, I was for his seconding.
Okay, thank
I was
you.
just, yeah.
No problem. Just being thorough here to make sure that we didn't miss you. So anyone opposed to this motion as amended? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you. So next item. On to page, you're ready, Rhonda? Don't want to rush her.
Up the right slide deck here.
So request for approval for 2021 Clean Water Program waiting lists.
Okay, so that is on page 34. And I'm just noting the project we just added so I can update the resolution for you. So again, we do have now 12 projects on the waiting list. And as you can see on page 34, the scores range from a low of 16.4 to a high of 21.5, just under that 21 point sorry, 21.4, just under the 21.5 threshold.
Can we have
The
him on the
request,
screen, Rhonda, please?
I don't think I have it. No, sorry, hang on, give me a second. I can pull it up. Bear with me.
So it would be page 34 on the agenda package with some changes as you discuss, right?
Here, page 3. Okay, so this is the waiting list. So these are what has accumulated since the June meeting. So we have projects ranging the highest score on the waiting list of 21.4 down to the lowest score of 16.4. With the project we just moved on that final project 33C, we now have 12 projects requesting 31,578.29 in grants. Again, we have, give me a second. Right now we have 8,000 remaining. What we have done in the past and what I am recommending the committee consider is that we do fund conditionally any project scoring 20.0 or higher based on available funding, and that any project scoring below 20.0 would be denied funding. That is consistent with the approach we used last year. So what would change in the recommendation is that we would add the project that we just moved to the waiting list of 2021-NAT-CW33C, well decommissioning, at a grant request of 1,000 to bring the total maximum grant conditionally approved to 11. I am asking for more than we have available in the event that we have additional 2020 projects that are either not proceeding or coming in below budget by end of year. So we have enough to cover this well decommissioning project and most of the manure storage. And then the other two projects scoring above 20 would be 2 well decommissionings, this one and the one we just moved to the list. So currently we have 8,000 available to cover what we would conditionally prove 11,000. And again, if there's a surplus resulting from projects coming in under their grant amounts or not proceeding, we would have the approval then to pay out the projects scoring above 20.0.
Okay. Is that clear as mud to everyone?
If you, just trying to think, I might be able to probably give an updated. I just lost my icons because I have too many screens on the go here.
That's okay. Alan has a question, so we'll start with that. Go ahead.
Okay, so assuming there is no slippage and we have $8,000 left to spend and we've conditionally approved 11, how do you distribute the 8?
My suggestion would be still based on rating score. So we would fund the 21.4 first. We would fund 7,000 of the 8,000 to manure storage, and they would be the first one to receive any surplus funding. So I recommend that we do stay within the rating order that we have established, highest to lowest.
Okay, does that answer your question, Alan, or?
Yep.
Okay.
So again, the resolution you're approving will add that fourth project in for a total of 11,000. Yeah.
So I'm looking for a mover and a seconder.
Renee.
I see Renee and Doug. All right. And anyone opposed? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried. Thank you, Rhonda. All right. So on to item number H is a request for approval of the 2022 Clean Water Committee meeting schedule. So if everybody can pull up their next year's calendar to make sure that there's no some major interference, which is what I'm doing right now myself. And then we will look for a mover and a seconder for those dates.
And just a note on page 36, we did neglect to update the year. So it is 2022 as seen on the screen.
That's, yeah. So,
And just a reminder
is there any
that the first,
conflicts? Sorry, Rhonda, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just a reminder that the first meeting on the 3rd is a Thursday instead of the Monday. We have tentatively put a holder in for the standing committee meeting, which was deferred last year. I'd like to set the meeting date as we get closer to March. That meeting may or may not happen, again, depending on pandemic conditions.
Okay. All right, so seeing no major conflicts being discussed here, I'm looking for a mover to approve the 2022
Bill, so
meeting
moved.
schedule.
I'll second.
Adrian and Bill. Okay. Anyone opposed? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried.
So we do not have a supplemental and we do not have any correspondence. So that brings us, Madam Chair, to item 11 on the agenda. And you're muted, Madam Chair.
Apologize for that. Sorry for that. So item number 11 is the next meeting, March.
And I have
and
Andre's
joint
hand
and as okay, Andre, go ahead.
Yes, just have a comment as a side rep or a rep. Last year, especially for cover crops and maybe other projects too, with COVID, I found it extremely difficult. I mean, sometimes to assess some of these projects. I'm not sure about the other reps, but I would like, if whenever possible, especially for maybe cover crops, which we don't necessarily need to meet too many people, to whenever possible to go and have a site visit done.
Well, that is certainly our hope, Andre. Again, as a reminder to the committee, we halted site visits during the provincial lockdown. So all non-essential work was pretty much locked down in the spring, which prevented us from being able to carry out site visits. Our hope is that that will not be the case moving forward, but we will have to, as always, wait and see where pandemic restrictions are at the time. So here's hoping that we're moving in the right direction.
Thank you.
Yeah, we all hope that we can meet in person. Go ahead, Alan.
Just a comment about where our grant dollars are going. There's an enormous number of projects happening in the northern end of our watershed, and nowhere near as many in Leeds, Grenville, or SDNG. We might try to focus some of our communication efforts in the next little while on those areas to try to make people aware of the program.
That's a very good comment there, Alan. It would be interesting to see jurisdictionally the number of programs throughout 2021 where they fell, and I think you're probably right that a good majority of them are the eastern part of of our watershed. So yes, definitely
don't have that
area
summary
to
offhand,
focus.
but it is
No
pretty evident.
worries.
If you look on page 18 and 19, you will see the letters in the middle of the project code give you the indication of the municipality that they're in. So noted for promotion. Thank you.
So is there anything that's required for the next meeting dates? Nothing here. Rhonda?
No, again, we just approved them, so we'll let you know closer to the date regarding the joint committee meeting at 1. At this point, meetings will continue to be virtual. We do hope and have budgeted for a hybrid, so we're hoping as we move through 2022, we will have an opportunity to have an in-person gathering, although I don't think it will happen at the March meeting.
Okay. So just another thought process. If in March we're looking to review any changes to the program or ratings and stuff as well. So if there's concerns. So if there's concerns, sorry, Rhonda?
I was just going to say at that time, We may or may not have feedback regarding from municipalities regarding the stewardship program. So if we do, we will bring that to the committee at the time. It'll be happening right around our first meeting. So I'm not sure if we'll have feedback available for the committee, but if we do, we'll certainly share it at that time.
Okay. So I'm going to just put it out there. Is there any other topics or things that maybe should or could be discussed at our March meeting, or you'd like on the agenda or brought up topics? I know it's a while away, but if you do, please reach out to me, myself, Rhonda, or Lori in that regard. And as I'm sure that we may not be meeting in person for Christmas events, and this is our last meeting of the year, I do want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas with their family and friends, and be safe still during this COVID time. So
Same to you, Jackie.
Thank you. And so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. And before we do, I just want to reach out and thank staff for all the work they do in prepping for these meetings. As complicated as it is to do virtually, they do an excellent job in preparing the details and stuff for us so that we can follow along very easily. So thank you to staff for that. Yes, Doug?
Oh, you're on mute, Doug.
I was just going to move adjournment.
Okay, thank you for that, and have a great afternoon, everyone. And thank you for making sure we had quorum this meeting. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Jackie, for doing an excellent job.
Thank you.